You can record just yourself. Well, what benefit is that in Swivl? You can do that in iMovie, you can do that in your iPad or your phone camera. But if you do it in Swivl, you can take this video and you can stick it in with your other slides, and then you can put it all together in one video. And I'm going to show you how to do that in our live teacher feature. But for right now, let's talk about why would you want to do this as a classroom teacher. What are some ideas that you have in just a short amount of time that you would want to record just your face and your voice without necessarily having anything else to go with it, a presentation style? One thing I can think of is in high school I took Spanish, and my teacher was incredibly good about showing us the shape of her mouth, because so many of us couldn't pronounce the words correctly until she showed us, hey, this is the shape your mouth will make because it's a B, not a V. So that kind of thing would be super helpful. That's going to be kind of across the board, especially when you're introducing new vocabulary. Think about those huge science words. Think about the math theorems and vocabulary and literature where students are coming across unknown words constantly. You can introduce those words just on here. You're not necessarily telling them what they mean. You're just saying, here's how you pronounce it. Here's how it looks and sounds. You can do an intro to a science lesson and just be like, all right, here's the beginning of a science experiment. I'm going to stop here. Let's hypothesize what's going to happen. You don't need a slide for that. You just need to get them excited and interested and want to know what's going to happen next. You can do the same thing in math. High school geometry, my teacher, Father Bebo, before we started on anything, he would always make us solve the theory. I think that's what it was called. It's a long time ago. And so he would take us through the theory step by step, and then from there it was a lot easier to solve the math problem with that equation, theorem, I think it was. So that could be this. Instead of taking the time in class to do that, you're just going to solve the theorem, just recording. You don't need a slide, and then present that to your students, or have them flip it and have them come to you already prepared for that. So those are just a couple of my ideas. What do you think? So we just talked about lecture capture, where you're only recording your face and you don't have this added slide. When I hit the button to change the perspective, it changes the perspective for me, but it doesn't change the perspective for you. What you're viewing, or what your students will view, is on the left side of the screen there will be the slide, and on the right hand of the screen there will be you. You stay the same, it stays in the same spot, nothing changes. When you're recording, if you need to be able to see your face, then flip that perspective. If you don't, and you would rather be looking at the slide, then you change that perspective back. The perspective change, I think, is more about making the instructor comfortable than the student presentation. So, talking about presentation capture, or making sure that when you do use the Swivl, you're recording your slides and yourself, what's the purpose? What can that be used for? Right off the top of my head, like, I know anytime you have students that want to take notes or need to take notes, or you have information where you're like, you definitely need to write this down and you need to memorize this. It's not great, but sometimes there are certain things that just need to be memorized. You just need to memorize that water is H2O, 2 hydrogens and an oxygen, okay? So little things like that. Presentation capture is great because you can put those in the notes. Another thing is directions. Hey guys, we've got a big project, but we're going to break it up into pieces. By Friday, we need this piece, and this piece done. And if it's laid out in bullet points in your presentation slide, it's right there for the students. And then you can go through and you can elaborate. All right, Monday we're going to work on this part, Tuesday we're going to edit, Wednesday we're going to do this, Thursday you have time to work, and Friday you need to turn it all in. What else can you use having a slide next to recording of yourself in the classroom. Like, what can you use that for in the classroom? All right, so the last piece of the Swivl, it's actually probably not the last piece, but it's the last piece that I'm really going to cover today, is the voice capture. And this is critical because as long as you have the remote close to you or close to the speaker, if it's a student, great. If it's you, great. Whoever's speaking, it's much clearer. Have you ever seen a video where the speaker is muffled and you really aren't getting much out of the presentation because you can't understand what they're saying, and it's a video, so you can't necessarily either read their lips either. So having this remote with your voice really is going to help. So just make sure that that wire is plugged into both the iPad and the Swivl, and make sure that your remote is either in your hand or on your desk. I talk a lot with my hands, so if I have the remote in my hands, the Swivl keeps going all over the place and it can't keep up. But I'm not having the remote on the other side of the room where it can't pick up my voice. So just a good tip, okay? Tip, remote close, and two, don't have the remote flying all over the place because it can't keep up, the Swivl can't keep up. You want to make sure that you are going slow enough. Just side tangent. Okay, thank you. If you have any questions on that, let me know.